You may be living the same year of your life over and over again, not because the world refuses to change, but because your brain keeps repeating the same patterns. What if the real obstacle in your life is not your circumstances, not other people, not luck or timing, but a neural script running silently in the background every single day? Most people assume their limitations are external. They blame circumstances, relationships, missed opportunities, economic conditions, genetics. But neuroscience suggests something far more uncomfortable. Much of what you call your personality is simply a conditioned response. From the moment you wake up, your brain begins predicting reality. It scans past experiences, stored emotions, and familiar interpretations. Before you consciously decide how to respond to the day, your reactions are already prepared. You do not see the world as it is. You see it as your brain has learned to interpret it. And when interpretation repeats long enough, it becomes identity. Your brain is built for efficiency. Although it represents only a small fraction of your body weight, it consumes a large portion of your energy. To survive, it automates. When you first learn to drive, every movement requires attention. Over time, repetition creates neural efficiency and the behavior becomes automatic. The same principle applies to thoughts, emotions, and reactions. It's every time you think a particular thought, specific neurons activate together. When that firing pattern repeats, the synaptic connections between those neurons strengthen. This process is known as long-term potentiation. Neurons that fire together wire together. Over months and years, these circuits become dominant pathways. They become your mental defaults. If you repeatedly think in terms of doubt, your brain becomes efficient at producing doubt. If you habitually respond with frustration, the neural circuitry of frustration strengthens. Eventually, these repeated responses stop feeling like habits. They feel like who you are. But from a neurological perspective, personality is simply a network of reinforced circuits. And reinforced circuits shape behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes. There is a cycle operating beneath your awareness. Thought generates emotion. Emotion releases chemistry. Chemistry reinforces neural circuits. Reinforced circuits guide behavior. Repeated behavior creates predictable results. If you think the same way you did yesterday, you feel the same way you did yesterday. If you feel the same way, you react the same way. And if you react the same way, you recreate similar outcomes. Imagine someone who has struggled in relationships 5 times in a row. Is it bad luck? Or is it a repeated emotional pattern triggering familiar responses? Imagine someone who constantly hesitates before opportunity. Is it lack of talent? Or is it a neural circuit trained in self-doubt? Many people believe they are stuck because their environment never changes. But it may be that their neural architecture never changes. For decades, scientists believed the adult brain was relatively fixed. It was assumed that structural change became limited after childhood. Modern neuroscience has overturned that belief. The brain is plastic. It reorganizes itself in response to experience, attention, and repetition. This capacity is called neuroplasticity. When you learn something new, new synaptic connections form. When you repeatedly practice a skill, those connections strengthen. When a pathway is no longer used, it weakens over time. The brain is not rigid hardware. It is adaptive biological tissue responding continuously to input. And experience is not limited to physical events. Brain imaging studies show that when individuals vividly imagine performing an action, many of the same neural networks activate as when they physically perform it. Mental rehearsal activates motor regions. Emotional imagery activates limbic structures. In other words, the brain responds to internally generated experiences. This has powerful implications. If repeated activation strengthens circuits, and if imagination activates circuits, then intentional mental rehearsal can begin reshaping neural structure. Some researchers and authors, including Joe Dispenza, suggest that focused attention combined with elevated emotional states can accelerate this rewiring process. Interpretations differ, but the biological mechanism is consistent across neuroscience. Attention directs neural firing, repetition stabilizes connections, emotion strengthens encoding. When these elements combine consistently, certain pathways become dominant. If the brain can change, why is change so difficult? Because the brain evolved primarily for survival, not transformation. Predictability feels safe. Familiar emotional states feel normal, even when they are uncomfortable. Repeated stress responses create stable biochemical environments in the body. Over time, your nervous system becomes conditioned to certain emotions. It is not just that you feel anxious. Your system may be trained to expect anxiety. Breaking this pattern disrupts predictability. When you attempt to think differently, your brain senses uncertainty. Old circuits are efficient highways. New circuits are narrow paths that require deliberate effort. Reprogramming the brain is not about blind optimism. It is about structured repetition. The first step is awareness. You must observe your own patterns without immediately reacting to them. Notice recurring thoughts. Identify emotional triggers. Recognize automatic behaviors. Without awareness, the pattern continues invisibly. The second step is interruption. When the familiar thought arises, pause. When the habitual emotional surge begins, create space before responding. This is not suppression. It is redirection of attention. Neural circuits weaken when they are not reinforced. When you consistently withdraw attention from a pattern, its dominance gradually decreases. The third step is installation. You intentionally activate alternative responses. You mentally rehearse acting with clarity instead of fear, composure instead of irritation, resilience instead of avoidance. Repetition is critical. A single effort will not override years of conditioning, but consistent activation strengthens new networks. Over time, what once required effort begins to feel natural. The unfamiliar becomes familiar. The new pathway becomes the default, and this is where identity shifts. Identity is not mystical, it is neurological. It is the collection of dominant patterns guiding perception, thought, and behavior. When dominant patterns change, identity changes. This does not guarantee instant external transformation. It does not eliminate obstacles, but it alters how you interpret and respond to reality. And when interpretation changes, decisions change. When decisions change consistently, outcomes begin to shift. Change is cumulative. Small neural adjustments practiced daily compound over time. Just as physical training reshapes muscle through repeated stress and recovery, mental and emotional training reshapes neural networks through focused repetition. There will be resistance. Old patterns will reappear. That does not mean failure. It means the old network is still strong. The real question is which network you reinforce more often. Are you strengthening doubt or resilience? Are you rehearsing fear or possibility? Are you reinforcing frustration or stability? The brain adapts to what it practices most. If neuroplasticity is real and decades of research confirm that it is, then you are not permanently defined by your past. You are trained by it, and training can be changed. Perhaps the limitation has never been your potential. Perhaps it has been unconscious repetition. You may not control every external factor in your life, but you influence what you repeatedly think, feel, and rehearse. And repetition reshapes structure. Your brain is not working against you. It is reinforcing what you practice daily. So the question becomes simple and direct. What are you practicing? Are you replaying the same internal script that built your current reality, or are you intentionally constructing a new one? The change is not mystical. It is not instant. It is biological. And transformation may not begin by forcing the world to become different. It may begin by recognizing that the most powerful architecture you will ever redesign is the one inside your own brain.